Have you ever wondered what the world's best traders do differently from everyone else? Do they have a secret formula, or are they just lucky? Market Wizards is a book where Jack D. Schwager interviews some of the world's most successful traders, uncovering the secrets that allow them to earn billions of dollars repeatedly and consistently. Chapter 1, Part 1. Behind every successful trader lies a way of thinking that's different from the average person. A common thread among them was risk management. They knew how much risk to take, when to stop, and when to push forward. For them, trading was a long race, not a shortcut to making money. The third thing was discipline. No matter how good a trade looked, if it didn't align with their strategy, they wouldn't take it. And if they did take a trade, they'd follow their rules completely, setting stop losses, determining profit targets, and monitoring their positions. Now imagine the difference it would make if you applied these three things, self-awareness, risk management, and discipline, to your trading. That's where the real transformation begins. The most remarkable thing about Market Wizards is that you don't just get stories of success, you also learn from failures. For instance, one trader recounted how he once ignored all his trading rules and suffered a huge loss. But that very loss taught him his biggest lesson. The market punishes you when you break the rules. From that day on, he followed the example of those successful traders who view every failed trade as a learning opportunity, not a sign of defeat. Another crucial point that emerges from this book is emotional balance. It's not easy to stay in control when you're making money, and fear and anger can become overwhelming when you're losing. But the Market Wizards traders repeatedly showed that controlling emotions is the real skill. They never marry their trades, meaning they don't get emotionally attached to any single trade. To them, every trade is a possibility, not a part of their identity. Now, think about this. If you treat trading as a profession, like doctors or engineers do their jobs, would you attach feelings to every trade? No, right? You'd make decisions based on rules, systems, and logic. This is the foundation of successful trading. Market Wizards also teaches us that every trader's path is different. Some excel in technical analysis, others in financial analysis. But what connects them all is their faith in their system and their adherence to it. Because when you consistently follow a good system, the results naturally appear in the long run.
One more thing. Don't be afraid of making mistakes. Instead, strive to understand them. Successful traders don't panic when they make errors. They pause, reflect, and then correct themselves, because every mistake is an opportunity to improve. In this first part, we understood what a successful trader's mindset is like, and what common elements in Market Wizards connect all great traders. Chapter 1, Part 2. Not every successful trader's journey begins the same way, but every successful trader's brain develops similar habits. These habits set them apart from the crowd. They don't need a formula, they need a process. They need a mental framework where they can operate coolly, whether the market goes up or down. Market Wizards emphasizes that your focus should always be on what you can control, your own behavior. You can't control the market, but you can determine when, how, and why you enter. As one successful trader said, "The real change came when I stopped predicting and started reacting to market activity." This way of thinking creates the difference between an average trader and a wizard. An average trader wants the market to follow their expectations, But a market wizard remains calm even when the market moves against their ideas, because they know they've already prepared their plan. They also share a deep conviction. Losses are part of the game. No matter how good you are, you won't be right every time. But if you learn to control losses correctly, those are the ones who get ahead. The book repeatedly reminds us that the real game is about your mental fortitude. So if you want to survive in this field, you first need to make yourself fit to trade, not make the trade fit you. Winning in the market doesn't mean you'll make money every time. It means you'll think wisely every time, follow your rules, and act with logic instead of emotion. And when you can do that, you'll also gradually start walking the path to becoming a market wizard. Chapter 2, Part 1. First, let's be clear. Trading isn't just a game of systems and charts. When we talk to Jack Schwager's famous traders, one thing that repeatedly comes up is their performance routine. This means they don't just take good trades, they prepare themselves in a specific way for that day, for that moment. This isn't temporary preparation, but rather habits that keep them mentally ready every day. Many people think trading only requires good software or fast internet. But the market wizards say that real preparation comes from the process. Having a specific routine before, during, and after a trade. This routine keeps them balanced, focused, and disciplined. Some trading icons rely on daily routines that include a minute of breathing exercises before a trade, which calms their minds. Many traders open their journals and review the previous day's mistakes carefully. Some ask themselves, "How's my mood today?" or "What mindset am I going into this trade with?" These kinds of mental explorations help them avoid issues like emotion or fear. These emotions can break your ego and confidence. So the wizards say, a process-driven routine brings your heart and mind to what your plan is, not what your emotions want to tell you.
One wizard said he created a rule. He has to follow 11 habits before every trade, just like an athlete does before stepping onto the field. When they complete this routine, they feel a specific satisfaction. Now I'm out of emotion inside the process. This routine not only sets the mind, but also reboots your unconscious mind. At that moment, you're filled with an excess of confidence, so much so that you don't react to weak impulses at that moment. And this routine becomes a signal for your brain that now it's time to trade. The main message of this section is, if you don't create a routine, you haven't prepared your mind. The market wizards always say that the real feeling comes when you're ready from within. Today's trade isn't an isolated event, rather it's the result of all that day's preparation. If you want to see yourself organized, focused, and mentally prepared, then create a routine. Create a system. It's not complicated, but it must be followed consistently. Chapter 2, Part 2. Every successful trader's journey doesn't start the same way, but every successful trader's brain develops similar habits. These habits set them apart from the crowd. They don't need a formula, they need a process. They need a mental framework where they can work coolly whether the market goes up or down. Market wizards emphasize that your focus should always be on what you can control, which is your own behavior. You can't control the market, but you can determine when, how, and why you enter. As one successful trader said, the real change came when I stopped predicting and started reacting to market activity. This way of thinking creates the difference between an average trader and a wizard. An average trader wants the market to follow their expectations, but a market wizard remains calm even when the market moves against their ideas, because they know they've already prepared their plan. They also share a deep belief: losses are part of the game. No matter how good you are, you won't be right every time. But if you learn to control losses correctly, those are the ones who get ahead. The book repeatedly reminds us that the real game is about your mental fortitude. So if you want to survive in this field, you first need to make yourself fit to trade, not make the trade fit you. Winning in the market doesn't mean you'll make money every time. It means you'll think wisely every time, follow your rules, and act with logic instead of emotion. And when you can do that, you'll also gradually start walking the path to becoming a market wizard.
Chapter 3, Part 1. Trading is a game where your biggest enemy is your own mind. The most emphasized aspect in the discussions within market wizards is mental discipline. This is the strength that helps you follow rules, separate greed and fear, and make the right decisions at the right time. In the world of trading, two types of people survive: those who know how to manage their minds and those who quickly learn to do so. Everyone else either earns once, thinks they're a genius, and loses everything the next month, or is too afraid to even enter. A common thread among the market wizards is that they've learned to operate above their emotions. In an interview, a famous trader said, "When you're too excited or too scared, you're in danger." Most people's biggest mistake is that they see trading as an event, a gamble. But the market wizards see it as a process. For them, a winning or losing trade doesn't matter as long as they've followed their rules. It might surprise you to know that many top traders have openly stated in interviews that they are wrong 40–50% of the time, yet they remain consistently profitable because their risk management and discipline protect them. From this, we learn a big lesson. It's not important whether you win or lose. What's important is how much you lose when you lose, and how much you earn when you win. Understanding this ratio and continuously following your rules can help you reach the level where the market wizards stand. Many of them note down their emotions. When they feel greedy, they tell themselves, "This feeling is wrong. Stop now." When fear strikes, they return to their logic. And when confused, they don't trade at all. An excellent phrase that appears repeatedly in this book is, "The market is always right, but you don't have to play every time." This is the mental attitude that separates an ordinary trader from a wizard. And this attitude comes not just from books, but from experience, self-observation, and discipline. Chapter 3, Part 2. The journey of every successful trader doesn't begin the same way, but every successful trader's brain develops the same habits. These habits set them apart from the crowd. They don't need a formula, they need a process. They need a mental framework where they can work calmly whether the market goes up or down. The market wizards emphasize that your focus should always be on what you can control, which is your own behavior. You can't control the market, but you can determine when, how, and why you enter. As one successful trader said, "The real change came when I stopped trying to predict and started reacting to market activity." This way of thinking creates the difference between an ordinary trader and a wizard. An ordinary trader wants the market to move according to their expectations, but a market wizard remains calm even when the market moves against their belief, because they know they've already prepared their plan.
They also have another deep belief. Losses are part of the game. No matter how good you are, you won't be right every time. But if you learn to control losses correctly, you'll stay ahead. The book repeatedly reminds us that the real game is about your mental fortitude. So if you want to survive in this field, you first need to make yourself worthy of trading, not trade according to your whims. Winning in the market doesn't mean you'll make money every time. It means you'll think wisely every time, follow your rules, and act with logic instead of emotion. And when you can do this, you'll gradually start walking the path to becoming a market wizard. Chapter 4, Part 1. If winning every trade were that easy, everyone in the world would be rich. In this next phase, we'll learn how mental discipline and personal experience set a trader apart from everyone else. In an interview, a successful trader said, "Everyone just wants money from the market, but very few people want to understand how the money comes.
This is the difference between wizards and ordinary traders. Wizards focus more on the process from which money comes, rather than just earning money. For them, every trade is an experiment, an assessment, not a gamble. The most important thing here is knowing yourself in trading. The more a person understands their own behavior and reactions, the better they trade. The market challenges us every moment, from fear, from greed, from uncertainty. And until you understand yourself, you'll be stuck in these emotions. The market wizards emphasize that a good trader updates themselves daily. They review every trade to learn what could have been done better. This self-awareness makes them better. In an interesting example, a trader said that he reads his trading journal every week as if it were a book. It contains mistakes, emotional reactions, and plans.
Chapter 4, Part 2. In the wizard's market, you miss out on opportunities that are outside your definition. Market wizards never confine themselves to a specific category. They remain flexible, think with an open mind, and adapt as needed. Their specialty is also that they never consider the market something to be won. They know that you can't conquer the market, you can only carve out your own place in it. And that place is created only when you learn to control your emotions. When your focus is more on making the right decisions than on earning money, this is a very big mindset shift. Along with this change comes another important aspect: discipline. In the market, discipline doesn't just mean setting stop losses, it means making every decision a part of a process. Whenever you follow a trend, enter a breakout, or close a position, you should ask yourself every time, is this decision part of my plan, or is it a decision taken out of fear, greed, or frustration? And what was its outcome? This habit not only improves them, but also eliminates repeated mistakes. This journal acts like a mirror for them, showing their true reflection. Another common quality of market wizards is they always think in probabilities. They never think that a trend will run 100%. They always have in their mind, if this happens, what will I do? And if that happens, what will be my strategy? This way of thinking never lets them be surprised by any market move. Along with this, they keep their ego at bay. They believe that making mistakes is a human process, and making mistakes in trading is also inevitable. So when a trade goes wrong, they don't take it personally. They consider it a part of learning and move on from it. This is a quality that very few people possess. An interesting point is also that top traders never consider themselves masters of the market. They always remain students. The market is new every day, and they know that if today is different from yesterday, they also need to learn something new today. They use their old experiences, but never completely rely on them. They constantly update themselves, understanding new patterns, new indicators, new behaviors. They also know that the market is a psychological game, and whoever understands their own mind can play this game for a long time. Another secret to the market wizard's success is they think long-term. They are not bothered by a day's loss or a week's loss. Their focus is on the fact that if they continuously follow their process, the results will automatically be good in the long run. This thinking saves them from short-term panic. Every trade of theirs is like an experiment where they use their experience, logic, and analysis. If the experiment is successful, they learn what they did well, and if it fails, they learn what needs improvement. This way, they learn from every trade, whether it's a win or a loss. If we look at these points carefully, it becomes clear that the real difference is not in technical skills, but in mindset and discipline. Market wizards consider their mind to be the biggest trading tool, and until the mind is clear, calm, and purposeful, no strategy works.
So if you truly want to be a successful trader, first, train your mind. Recognize your emotions, adopt discipline, and keep considering yourself a student, because this is the path that can turn an ordinary trader into a market wizard. Chapter 5, Part 1. No matter how many times you fail, if you don't stop learning, victory will be yours. This is the mantra that sets successful traders apart from the rest of the world. There are very few people in this world who can deeply look at their losses and still stay in the game. The most fascinating thing about the market wizards is that these traders were not among the ones who gave up. They turned failure into a means of learning, endured it, understood it, and came back better than before every time. In this chapter, we will discuss how great traders continuously examined their thinking and took responsibility for their decisions. They didn't blame others, they questioned themselves. Instead of hiding their weaknesses, they identified and eliminated them. Trading is not just about charts and patterns. It's an inner battle. Fear versus belief, greed versus restraint. And whoever wins this internal war earns money in the long run. In many interviews, one thing has come up repeatedly. Successful traders never blame the market. If a trade goes wrong, they accept that they might have made a mistake or made a hurried decision. They consider the market a teacher and try to learn something new every day. They say, if you stop learning, the market will show you the way out very quickly. Now let's talk about discipline. Almost every wizard emphasizes that nothing can be achieved without discipline. Trading is a field where there's no boss, no timetable, and no one tells you what your next step should be. In such a situation, self-control becomes the greatest strength. They ask themselves before every trade, is this according to my strategy? Does this trade fall within my risk limits? If the answer is no, then they don't trade, no matter how good the opportunity seems. Then comes the issue of position sizing. Many traders have stated that they previously lost money on very good trades simply because they placed too large a bet. One trader said, even a correct idea can sink you if you put more money into it than necessary. This means that in trading, it's not enough to just be right, you also need to be in the right proportion. When it comes to emotions, this is probably the biggest enemy. Market wizards have said from their experience that getting carried away by emotions while trading, especially fear and greed, is the biggest mistake. In an interview, it was said that often when they lost control of themselves, their performance decreased. But as soon as they started working dispassionately under a system like a professional, their success began to increase. This chapter also explains that there's no such thing as a perfect trade. Often everything is right, yet the trade goes into a loss. And sometimes even wrong decisions can bring profit. But a successful trader is one who follows their process, not expecting perfect results every time. They knew that if you follow the process correctly, in the long run, the results will automatically be good. Another deep belief of these great traders was that no growth is possible without self-reflection. They reviewed their decisions after each day. Where did they make mistakes? Where was improvement needed? Whether to adopt the same method next time or not. This habit was making them better day by day. In trading, it often happens when you are very confident about your strategy, but the market shows you something else. In such a situation, accepting change is the greatest strength. Market wizards have called this flexibility of mind.
This means that if the market changes, you also have to change. If you think the biggest fight is against yourself, whoever wins this fight is the real winner. Chapter 5, Part 2. If you think that success comes only from a correct strategy or technical analysis, then you are probably ignoring the most essential element found in every great trader, which is self-discipline and the ability to understand your own mindset. In Jack D. Schwager's book, Market Wizards, it is repeatedly reiterated that successful traders not only understand market movements, but they also know themselves deeply. In every interview, it is clearly seen that top traders' focus is not just on profit, but they believe more in learning from their mistakes, acknowledging them, and correcting them. As soon as a trader puts aside their ego and considers the market their teacher, that's when their growth begins. One thing that has been seen in almost every successful trader is their habit of accepting the inner truth. When you accept that you can be wrong, you become open to making the right decisions. A trader's biggest enemy is their arrogance, and their best friend is their humility. Now, if we talk about risk management, almost every experienced trader has said that first and foremost, You need to learn to protect yourself from losses. It is more important to save money than to earn it. Someone rightly said, the trader who stays in the game for a long time is the real winner. This means your first focus should be on survival, then success will automatically follow. In Market Wizards, another interesting point comes up repeatedly. Most successful traders initially suffered significant losses, but they turned that failure into a stepping stone, turned losses into lessons, and most importantly, they didn't lose faith in themselves. This is a huge lesson. Loss does not mean failure. If you learn from it, that loss can become your greatest strength. Along with this, these traders also said how each person have their own trading style. For some, trend following works, while for others, a range-bound market. This means you need to find the method that suits you. You will observe every movement of the market, analyze it, and make a habit of learning something from every small piece of data. Instead of being afraid of data, make a habit of talking to it. Data can show you the way if you try to understand the patterns hidden within it. Another thing successful traders have said is restraint with the system. When you decide to follow a system, changing it repeatedly can lead to losses. Unless you have tested it well, no system will work. And when you trust your system, you stick with it, no matter what the market does. All successful traders had a special characteristic. They understood the value of time. They knew that everything doesn't change overnight. Trading is a process, a journey, which takes time, requires discipline, and tests patience. Acquiring skill in any profession takes time, and trading is no exception. Jack Schwager's beautiful presentation of all these interviews helps us understand that trading is not just limited to technical analysis or charts. It is a mental battle, where the strongest is the one who can control their emotions. The more you understand yourself, the more you will understand the market. And ultimately, the biggest lesson is that no trader is perfect. Everyone has made mistakes, everyone has suffered losses, but the difference comes from where you pick yourself up again. Do you question yourself? Do you analyze yourself? Do you review your trades? If the answer to these questions is yes, then understand that you are moving in the right direction. This chapter teaches us that success does not come overnight, and it does not only depend on skill. It depends on your thinking, discipline, flexibility, and belief in yourself. And these qualities make a trader a winner. Chapter 6, Part 1. A trader's psychology is truly tested when they continuously maintain their composure in difficult situations. When there is fear all around in the market, a true wizard is one who trusts their process, sticks to their preparation, and can keep themselves balanced in the storm of emotions. This balance and professionalism is called skill. In this chapter, we will try to understand the psychology of traders who have survived in the market for many years. Their straightforward message is, you don't need to be right. You need to make money.
A common thread seen among successful traders is that they consider themselves a student in every trade. No matter how experienced they are, the market teaches them something new every day. Because of this learning attitude, they never allow themselves to become overconfident. They know that the moment someone starts thinking they know everything, that's when they make their biggest mistake. The thought, I need to learn more, constantly makes them better. In an interview, when a wizard was asked how he deals with failure, his answer was, I don't take failure personally. For me, every loss is just a data point from which I can make better decisions next time. There's a deep philosophy hidden in this thinking. Most people, when they lose, either get angry at themselves or blame the market. But a wizard views a loss like a professional. They aren't overly sad or overly scared. They learn from the loss and move on. Trading is a profession where there's a new challenge every day. The market can never be fully predicted. Therefore, traders have to continuously update themselves. They work on their strategies, backtest, write in their trading diaries, and analyze every trade to find out what went wrong and what went right. This process prepares them to think and work like a professional. Many traders believe that the biggest reason for success is following the rules, whether those rules are for entry, exit, or risk management. Successful traders follow them without emotion. They know that the moment they start breaking their rules, they might be out of the game, so they consider their rules like a religion, unyielding and unbreakable. Now think, do you always plan your trades according to your rules? Do you set your sell and TP, take profit, without emotion?
Do you violate rules and start revenge trading when you incur a loss? If yes, then you need to learn from the wizards. The next important principle is the ability to recognize trends. Experienced traders know that when a trend forms, it can last for a long time. This is where an extremely crucial factor comes in. Arrogance is the biggest enemy in trading. Some traders have stated that when they overtraded more than necessary, they did so only because their ego was hurt. In such situations, they tried to teach the market a lesson, which ended up being a lesson for themselves. Another point emerges from these interviews. Every trader made many mistakes at the beginning, but the only difference was that they didn't repeat those mistakes. Some lost all their money in their first trade. Some suffered losses for many years, but they continuously kept learning. This creates a clear pattern. Successful traders are those who observe their experiences very deeply. They see every trade as a lesson. They think about why they did it, how they did it, what emotions were at play, and what they learned from it. These micro-learnings are what make them masters. Now let's talk about systems and discipline. A trader said, if you break your rules while trading, you are trading against yourself. Think about how powerful a statement that is. Until you can control yourself over your rules, you won't be able to gain control from the market.
So some top traders had written down rules for themselves. They would repeat those rules before and after every trade. This is a kind of self-coaching. Just as an athlete repeatedly mentally coaches themselves before a game on how to play, similarly, a trader needs to reprogram their mind. And when it comes to emotions, most successful traders definitely agree on one thing. Until you can control your fear, greed, and excitement, you cannot be a professional trader. The market doesn't just test your skill, it also challenges your emotions. So what should you do? First of all, know yourself. In what situations do you overtrade? When do you start taking too much risk? Which emotions repeatedly worsen your decisions? Identifying this is the first step. Secondly, create a routine. Just as athletes have warm-ups, a trader needs to mentally prepare before every trade. That could be breathing exercises, visualization, or simply repeating their rules. Thirdly, keep a journal of your trades. Record every entry, exit, emotion, and logic. This will help you start seeing patterns in your behavior, and then you can work on them. The gist of all this is, the more you know yourself, the better a trader you will be. Now, if we talk about professionals, one thing is common among them. They consider the market a lifestyle, not just a means of earning money. This doesn't mean they trade 24/7. Rather, it means they are always aware, disciplined, and in learning mode. A very impactful line in the interviews was, trading is not about prediction, it's about reaction. This means the real game isn't about knowing the market in advance, but the real game is about how you react correctly when you see it happening. And that's where psychology comes in. You can react as much as you have prepared yourself. If you react emotionally in trading, you will lose. But if you have trained yourself for that reaction, that will be the reason for your victory. These strategies are used to reevaluate and come back stronger. For them, every loss, every wrong trade is an investment in learning, in improving, and in becoming a professional. Trading is not a war where you have to fight an enemy, so no matter what the market is like, you survive every situation with your strategy and mental stability. Chapter 7, Part 1. Do you know, the greatest traders don't consider themselves geniuses, they consider themselves students. Because as long as you keep learning, you'll keep winning. Many of those interviewed in Market Wizards have clearly stated, I will never understand the market, but I will definitely understand myself better. This line itself says so much that you'll want to read it repeatedly. Success in trading doesn't come because you have the fastest computer or because you read the most news, but because you repeatedly examine and improve your habits, your thoughts, and your decisions. Every successful trader has one special thing. They don't consider themselves fixed. They consider themselves a work in progress. They believe that every trade is an assessment, an opportunity to know if they are able to control both their system and their emotions. Now let's talk about edge. Every professional trader says that trading without an edge is like shooting an arrow in the dark.
An edge refers to a strategy, pattern, or analytical method that consistently generates profit and delivers positive results in the long run. Otherwise, you'll never be able to take advantage of them. The process means first think, then act. And even if you incur a loss, be happy because you followed your system. In Market Wizards, a phrase comes up repeatedly. Being wrong is part of the game. Making a mistake isn't a sin, but making one and failing to acknowledge it, that's the real defeat. Every trader needs to understand this. Your job is to make the right decision, not to control the market. And a right decision remains right even if its outcome isn't what you hoped for. This mindset helps you stay stable, calm, and continuously improve. And ultimately, these are the people who become wizards. Don't blame the market. They believe if I didn't blame, I wouldn't give my child. And I don't give my child when I don't give my child. This section is unclear and appears to be a mistranslation or a fragmented thought. Now think, can't we all adopt this approach in our lives? Whenever a failure occurs, instead of blaming others, ask yourself, what did I learn from this? Because when you learn, you don't fall into the same trap again. This thinking creates a wizard. And in Market Wizards, this is the biggest lesson. Trading isn't just a means to earn money. It's an arena for self-discipline, mental fortitude, and long-term thinking. Chapter 8, Part 1, The Mindset of Market Wizards. Have you ever wondered what makes the most successful traders different from others? Do they use a special system or have a secret indicator? While reading Market Wizards, one thing consistently becomes clear. Their greatest strength lies within themselves, their mindset, their routines, and their discipline. Getting there isn't easy. Every trader has their own struggle, but they all agree on one thing. You need to find the right trading style for yourself. In other words, until you understand yourself, you won't find the right trading style. Some are swing traders, some do intraday, some only do positional trades. But these styles emerge from within them, their personality, their risk tolerance, their emotional control. This isn't a copy and paste game. You have to ask yourself, why am I trading? To earn money is an answer, but the bigger question is how and what kind of money? Do you want to grow slowly with low risk, or do you believe in a high-risk, high-reward strategy? Market Wizards teaches that you must align your trading with your character, because as long as you trade against your nature, you'll either lose money or your peace of mind.
Another profound insight that repeatedly comes up in this book is that acknowledging mistakes is the real strength. A good trader isn't defined by how many times they win, but by when and how they surrender, meaning setting stop losses, putting ego aside, and accepting that this time the market is right and you are not. Often we traders think, let me wait a little longer, maybe a reversal will come. But it's this hope that leads to the most significant losses. Wizards don't make decisions based on emotion. For them, a loss is part of a process, not a stamp of defeat. Now let's talk about repetition. Most successful traders use the same strategies repeatedly, the same setups, the same patterns, the same decisions, because they know that trading isn't an art where you have to do something new every day. It's a science, where a repeatedly refined system is run over and over again. If you've found a working system that's producing results for you, there's no need to constantly change it. You just need to follow it regularly, no matter how much greed or fear the market incites. Market Wizards also teaches that your mind is your biggest asset. So keeping it clear, free from negativity, and maintaining focus is as crucial as reading charts. That's why many traders have a daily ritual, such as writing a trading journal, reviewing every trade, or creating an action plan each weekend based on the past week's mistakes. If you can build these habits, you'll gradually see yourself improving week after week. Many wizards have also admitted that a good mentor or role model can shorten your trading journey by several years. They either learned from an expert or became part of a trading group to challenge their thinking. Through this, they weren't limited to themselves, but became part of a collective knowledge. So if you don't have a mentor, books can be your mentor, like Market Wizards. Each chapter is like a new mentor, teaching you from their own experience without any agenda or self-promotion.
Now pay attention to distractions like mobile phones, news, social media, and other people's trading. These can poison your mind. Many wizards have confessed that until they protected themselves from these things, they couldn't make their own decisions. Their biggest turning point came when they completely connected their trading to their own thinking. No external noise, no unnecessary news, no emotional actions. With this mindset, they view their trades like a mission. And this is the difference between a professional and an amateur trader. Let's end this section here so you can ponder these profound insights. The biggest misconception in trading is that the real game is about understanding the market. But Market Wizard says, first, understand yourself, because the market has no face, but your every face, every fear, every greed, everything is visible on the chart. When you panic, you exit quickly. When you're greedy, you enter without logic. And when you need to prove yourself, you hold on to losing trades. Now think, did anything change in the market? No, only your mindset changed. This is why wizards repeatedly say the same thing. The system comes later. First and foremost is self-control.
Now, speaking of control, it's essential to understand that your mind will try to trick you every day. It will tell you, double down this time, it's a sure trade. Or wait a little longer, maybe it will come back. But the truth is, your mind can be your biggest enemy if you don't train it. In the Market Wizards interviews, it's clear that every successful trader at one point used discipline as a tool to control their mind. For them, breaking rules meant deceiving themselves. They created specific rules for themselves and stuck to them, no matter what. For example, how much risk to take on a trade, predetermined entry and exit points decided from the chart and system, stop losses placed without emotion, and most importantly, a post-mortem of the trade. All of this is so that every subsequent trade can be taken with a clearer mind. Now, another crucial point. Taking breaks in trading is also a skill. Some wizards have said that when the market is too uncertain, or when you've endured 2 or 3 losses, the best trade is often the one you don't take. Why? Because at that time, the mind is in revenge mode, and trades taken in revenge mode are almost always wrong. So they created no trade zones for themselves when they realized their emotions were controlling them. They would then step away from the market, read books, go for a walk, or study old trades. This self-awareness made them wizards because they understood that it's not always necessary to trade, but it is necessary to trade at the right time. Now, a special word, long-term thinking. Market wizards don't just chase today's win. They view every trade as part of a system. So, if a trade goes into a loss, they feel no sadness as long as it was according to their system, because they know that if they run the same system 100 times, the output will be positive. In other words, they view every trade like simple math, not emotional, not random. This also means that journaling is a critical part of their process. They record all their trades, entry, exit, emotions, reasons, market conditions, and then review them at the end of the week. This helps them start seeing hidden patterns, such as when they take more risk or when they panic. When you analyze yourself at such a deep level, you won't repeat the same mistakes next time, and that's where true growth begins. Another important takeaway from Market Wizards is flexibility. The same thing doesn't always work in trading. Markets change, volume changes, sentiment changes, and a good trader is one who can adapt to all of this. This doesn't mean you change your system every day, but rather that you keep flexibility within your system. Sometimes it means staying on the sidelines, sometimes only working with liquid stocks, or sometimes only focusing on indices. Those who only know how to trade one way will eventually be defeated by the market. But flexibility comes when you are ready to learn, when you think like a student every day. And that's what wizards do. No matter how successful they are, they try to learn something new every day. So, if you want to see yourself as a pro trader, start molding your mindset in that direction. Trading isn't a lottery, it's a game of struggle, where the one who understands themselves the most earns the most. What is the most dangerous trap for a trader? It's thinking that they now know everything. Because the moment you accept that you're an expert, you stop learning, And that's the moment the market is most ready to bring you down.
A profound truth emerges from the discussions with market wizards. Every professional trader. You might have noticed that when things aren't going well in your personal life, your trades also start to go bad. Why? Because there's only one mind, and it goes everywhere with you. Market wizards believe that if your personal life is unbalanced, if you don't get enough sleep, eat healthy food, or are constantly under stress, then your trading becomes a reflection of that pressure. That's why some top traders start their day not with trading, but with meditation, yoga, or running. They first clear and calm their minds so that when they look at the charts, they see genuine data, not their mood. Because if you start reading the market with your mood, you're not trading that day. You're fighting a battle to prove yourself. And that's not trading, it's mental gambling. Now let's talk about another silent enemy, overconfidence. This comes when you've had some good trades, when your account shows good growth, and when people start calling you a guru after seeing your results. This is where the downfall begins. To avoid this trap, market wizards adopt a simple rule. Treat every trade like your first trade. That means approaching every trade with the same caution, research, and discipline you had when you took your very first trade. This keeps you grounded. You don't get carried away by your success, nor do you break down in defeat. Another thing wizards repeatedly say, every loss is a learning opportunity. They take every loss very seriously, but not emotionally. They sit and think, what went wrong in this trade? Was the entry wrong? Was too much risk taken? Or was my mind not calm when I took the trade? They view that loss like a fee, like a coaching fee. The only difference is that their class runs daily in the live market. It's this thinking that leads to continuous improvement, because their goal isn't to never make a mistake. Their goal is to not make the same mistake again. Now let's move to another level of skill, living with trading. Trading isn't just a means to earn money. It's an art where you see yourself every day, refine yourself every day, and become better every day. Market wizards don't view this journey as one day I'll become a millionaire, but rather I'll get a little better every day, because they know that money is a byproduct. The real reward is the person you become in this process, calm, disciplined, and able to control your emotions. So the next time you sit at the trading terminal, be sure to ask yourself, am I here to fight the market or to learn? If the answer is the latter, you're on the right track. And this is the difference that turns an ordinary trader into a true market wizard. Chapter 9, Part 2, The Inner System. True traders are never driven by external certifications. They don't have a degree that makes them a market wizard. They have experience, passion, and that internal system they designed with their own blood, sweat, and defeats. From discussions with market wizards, it's clear that every successful trader has created their own trading system. Some adopted technical analysis, while others worked solely on news-based reactions. Some learned to talk to charts, while others only learned to read volume and market depth. But one thing was common among them all. No one copied another's strategy. They experimented, they faced failure, they understood their own mind, when it's focused, when it panics, when it gets carried away by greed. And then they designed their trading system to match their mind's nature. This is why no strategy is universal. What works for one person can be detrimental to another.
Because in trading, the game isn't just about the market. The game happens inside you. Market wizards believe that the best strategy is the one you have truly felt, understood, and that aligns with your personality. So when new traders adopt a strategy they saw on YouTube and get frustrated the next week, the fault isn't with the strategy. The fault is with the thinking that believes someone else's path can be their own. Now let's talk about graceful trading, meaning trading without restlessness or excessive excitement, a state where you feel normal, even in the face of significant profits or losses. Market wizards say true professionals trade emotionlessly, but not lifelessly, meaning their trading lacks emotion, but it has life. They are not robots. To reach this grace, they have traveled a long road, repeated failures, repeated self-reflection, and finally, a profound decision that now I will not let myself be my biggest weakness. I ask myself every time, am I acting out of fear or out of logic? This small question can change your entire trading. Because as long as your decisions are made from emotion, you're not playing. You're falling victim to your inner biases and brain's tricks. Market wizards also give another crucial piece of advice. Silence is essential in trading. This means not constantly trading, not reacting to every movement. Sometimes just sitting and watching the market is the most profitable thing to do. Often they won't take a trade for hours, but when the market gives a clear signal, they act quickly without hesitation. Their strength lies in that silence, because in that silence, they prepare themselves personally. They read charts, understand themselves, and mentally focus. And finally, there's the fallacy of perfection. New traders often think that a day will come when they won't make any mistakes, but market wizards completely deny this idea. They say there is no perfection in trading. If you're right 60% of the time, you're among the top 1% of traders. So they don't celebrate every win, and they don't blame themselves for every loss. They just do one thing. Day by day, without any drama, they follow their system. And this is the biggest lesson in trading. Not perfection, but consistency. The one who is prepared to get a little better every day wins the long race. Every trend is a signal, but every signal isn't an opportunity. This understanding is the hardest thing in trading. It's knowing when doing nothing is the best move. In discussions with market wizards, a pattern repeatedly emerges. The best trades are those taken in a perfectly calm environment. No noise, no distractions, no haste. Just a correct signal and a firm decision. One wizard says, most new traders enter when the market is speaking loudly, but profit is found where the market is slowly speaking its real truth. This line teaches a lot, because in real trading, a no trade is also a trade of discipline, and this discipline forms the foundation of long-term success. Now let's talk about losses, because without talking about losses, you won't understand market wizards. Every successful trader has faced significant losses. Some lost their entire capital, while others lost years of hard work. But they never lost two things: their desire to learn and their courage to bounce back. There's a true story in Market Wizards about a trader who kept losing for 2 consecutive years. People told him, give up. His family said, get a job. But he didn't give up on one thing: analyzing his mistakes. Every week he would sit and read his trading diary, discuss his failed trades, and think from a new perspective each time. In the 3rd year, his trading became profitable, and in the next 5 years, he started making millions. Why? Because he learned one thing: loss is a mentor, not an enemy. Market wizards welcome these losses. They don't hide them, because they know losses are part of the process that make them wizards. The second important point is the loneliness of trading. As glamorous as this profession looks from the outside, it's just as lonely from the inside. No boss, no team, no applause.
Just you and the screen, and whatever is going on inside you is the reason for your profits and losses. That's why successful traders know themselves very well. They know when they become emotional, when they get stuck in revenge trades. Those who think of making quick money have always lost in trading. Because haste only brings 2 things: impulsiveness and regret. But those who treat trading as a profession, like doctors, engineers, or architects, study it, practice it, and prepare for the long race. They know that you don't earn from trading every day, but it's essential to learn something every day. Now let's talk about real insight. Successful traders don't control the market, they control themselves. The market will always change, sometimes due to news, sometimes sentiment, sometimes unknown events. But the trader who can keep themselves steady can recognize opportunities in it. Market Wizards considers this control to be the greatest strength, because when your mind is calm, it can see the depths of the market. And finally, a crucial point for every trader. Successful traders don't just chase money, they chase performance. Their focus is solely on, did I trade with discipline today? Did I follow my strategy correctly today? Did I keep my emotions out of trading? Money is a byproduct, but that performance which improves daily is the real success. The real strength of market wizards is in their mindset. They valued their mind more than their margin, and that's why they are known as wizards. Chapter 10, Part 2, The Continuous Test. Trading is a world where there's a new test every day. No fixed syllabus, no set questions, and no guarantee that you'll pass tomorrow. But Market Wizards teaches us this: if you keep improving yourself every day, defeat is never permanent. The traders who made history didn't change the market's movements, they changed themselves. They sharpened their thinking, controlled their emotions, and made discipline their greatest tool. They have repeatedly shown that the real victory is not on the chart, but in the mindset. How much you earn isn't important, how much you learn is important. Because what you learn today will save you tomorrow, and that will make you successful in the future. Action. Because without action, no insight, no knowledge, and no information can change your life. If you've listened to this video attentively so far, you are the person who wants to learn, move forward, and take your trading to a pro level. If you like this video, please like it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Do share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback is extremely important to us. If you feel this information can be useful to someone else, please share it, because true knowledge is what is shared. To get information about new videos first, be sure to turn on the notification bell. And if you want to read this content as an ebook, it's also available. To get the ebook, you can contact us on WhatsApp. You'll find the link in the description and pinned comment.